Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you all had an awesome Christmas and New Year's. Today we're gonna make an 8-inch weld, just under 375 wall. And I think I'm gonna do a downhill bead, downhill hot pass, 60-10 bead, or the root, 1/8 60-10, and 532 80-10 hot pass. And then I'm gonna fill and cap with 332 70-18. As far as the position, we're just gonna do it flat. What do you call that? 5G, just so I can knock the rust off of my 70-18 on pipe here. Got a little sidetracked, just a little. Guess we better have a ground, huh? If we wanna do any welding. That right there's a snug fit, boys. Look at there. Little old rolly grinder holder. All right. Now I can shove that thing out of my way. I can drag it to me. Do a couple of different things. Heck yeah. Throw my little old remote on there. Hootin' tootin' Fort Nugan. for that yet. Here it is before we brush the slag off of it. Little old 8-inch hot pass. Here it is after brushed off. terrible on camera. Okay, it's not just on camera, it's in real life too. Looks terrible in real life. But the thing with 7018, because the next pass we're going to put in is going to be with 7018. So everything you just saw should be all right with 7018, especially on that bottom, because when welding overhead, or in this case on pipe, like on the bottom like that, it's less likely for anything to get caught, like trash. Now porosity is a problem on our start, because whenever we fire up with 7018, 7018 is notorious for porosity in the starts. So with X-ray, when you're working a job where they're shooting your welds and you're welding with 7018, porosity is a big deal. So it's something you gotta be more careful about with X-ray and 7018. So all that to say is, whenever I fire up on this bottom with 7018, I'm gonna fire up a little bit above and I'm gonna drag down to the bottom and then start. Kind of the same way I do with downhill. If you've been following, you know what I'm talking about. I always fire up in front of where I'm going to be starting at. That way it warms my rod up. Well, that's even more of a big deal with 7018, because we don't want any porosity in our starts. Now we're gonna bump our machine, our remote, down to 40, which is where I got it set here. And on this SAE 300, I've got my main up here set on 150 range. And we're gonna be welding with 332 7018. Here we go. Fire up right here. Then I'm gonna drag back over here, and I'm gonna start welding uphill. Another thing that I quickly remembered just now, because by the way, this is the first 7018 pipe weld I've made in a while, is that 7018, well, this would probably happen with 6010 also, but when welding uphill, it fills up a little faster, so it's all the more reason to put a smaller, in this case with this wall thickness, a smaller hot pass in, like smaller than what I did, because this is already too full to cap. So all that to say is, I probably could have ran like a 1/8 hot pass and put it way lower than this right here, and then that way this wouldn't be as full. So, or I could have hot passed it with 7018 and then just capped it over the hot pass. I hope that all makes sense. So anyway, we're gonna work our way up here, work our way up this side, and then cap the thing, all with 7018. Fire up here, drag down here where we stopped, and make sure we're touching the sides with our welding rod. See how we're going side to side? That's going to ensure that we're burning out the trash that's in this hot pass. You know, one of the things that I like about 7018 is it's less splattery, less burns. Downhill rod is splattery. not as over full as I thought it was going to be, but I have not changed my heat. I've been on 40 this whole time. Trying to keep my rod in that bevel so I don't widen this any more than I have to. Try to pull the camera up to my point of view, that way you can really see like the depth of vision or whatever. You can tell how full, see down here, it's actually above full versus like right here, it's still a little above. Yeah, right here it's probably the lowest. See how much bevel that's filling up. That's what it looked like before, essentially. All that 332 rod's filling up. Let's go ahead and stick a 332 rod in here so we can see. Yeah, see. Alright, now we'll weld this other side and put a little old cap on her. I'm actually going to go ahead and grind my start down here. Even though this is practice, if it wasn't practice and they were shooting this x-ray, I would definitely grind that down there just to make sure there's no porosity. If there is any holes that show up when I grind it, I'll grind it until the holes are gone. Then I'll go back over it with this, tie it in. I don't have a whole lot of, if any, actually. I had to think about that because I almost went on a job in Colorado that was 7018, but I never did go on it. I don't know if I've ever, and I've been on another job where they filled and capped with 7018. Yeah, I think we bead and hot passed it, and then there was a crew, they called it a fitting crew, but it's more or less like a mini gang. But on this particular job, well, it was 36 inch in Ohio when I first started this YouTube channel, actually. Can't remember if I got any videos of that job. Yeah, the job that me and Leo were on. For those of you that have been following for a long time, Leo Martinez, he was my welding partner. We met on that job, and he's the one with the pink welding machine. Anyway, on that job, they had a fitting crew. They went through there and put on all the fittings throughout the whole, whatever it was, how many ever miles it was, 36 inch. And on the main line, I think they were using automatic shacks. Why does that not even sound right? I'm getting that job confused with the 42 inch job I was on. 42 inch, they for sure used automatic welders whenever they were laying pipe, but on this 36 inch, anyway, this fitting crew, I like to take the long way around if you don't notice. The fitting crew, they had 2 welders putting a bead and a hot pass in, and they had 2 welders come in behind that running 7018 for a filler and a cap. It was just part of the procedure. Procedure is just like a order of doing something. So what I was trying to say at the beginning of this little conversation was, I don't think I've ever welded with 7018 on a job and had X-ray shoot it. I keep thinking there's been several scenarios, like I'm trying to think if on like a fab job, like a small fab job or something, maybe, but I feel like I have, but it definitely hasn't been very much. There's just been a lot of close encounters. Okay, while I was editing this video, I remembered where I had some uphill 7018 welds x-rayed. Real quick, it was during an Enbridge test that I took one time. One of Enbridge's notorious tests is a big, like, I forget, 6, 8, 10 different tests, all for one to get a job. It's like 2 2-inch welds, 2 8-inch welds, one downhill, one uphill. It's got like 2 branch tests, 2 12-inch branch tests, a 6-inch branch. It's even got a wet sleeve, and it's roughly that, maybe some more, I don't remember. But I got as far as like the 6-inch branch, but on the 2-inch welds and the 8-inch welds, they just x-rayed those. I don't believe they pulled straps, if I remember right. And everything with my 2-inch and my 8-inch was good, except for one of my 2-inch had some porosity in the start on the bottom. So that's where I remember getting some weld shot. I couldn't remember for the life of me whenever I was making this weld, but that is where, and that's why I'm remembering how big a deal it is to make sure your starts are clean with 7018. All right. That's, see now, I about forgot what I was doing because I got to talking. Now let's weld this puppy. I mean, grind this puppy. All right. Now it's time to weld. Time to weld, boys. Heck yeah, man. Side here is a little wider, which is good. I'm able to leave a little edge on this side. Now, I'm just focused on making sure I'm not leaving any undercut between the edge and the toe of my weld, aka edge of my weld. Toe equals edge. Kill, man. Kill potatoes. All right, so this side here is the side we just welded. First we'll look at, see how there's no straight edge. I say that, I was able to leave a little bit right in here, but not very much, as to where over here you can see straight edge all the way, pretty well on both sides. Still pretty full, but I was able to leave a little edge. Alright, now let's put a cap on this again with 332 7018, and I think we're going to leave it on 40. I may bump her down to 35, but I'm going to start off on 40. See what happens. Tight arc length. Go side to side. Let's see what that looks like. Look what we got going on down there. It's never happened ever in my life. It's like a little, I don't know, it's like a splatter, like where my rod's stuck or something. That's weird. Huh, anyway, we'll grind that out. .7018 is fun to weld with in its own way. It's smooth. That's where else I've welded a bunch of 7018, like a bunch of pipe with 7018 is drilling rigs, but they didn't x-ray it on drilling rigs. Uh-oh, pecker tracks. Pecker tracks just mean arc mark. That's no good on pipeline. Arcing outside the bevel is a big no-no. I still have not changed my settings. I'm still on 40. 150 range on the main. All right, there you have it. Good old 7018 pipe weld. Big difference between the 8010 and the 7018. There's parts of that 7018 I do like. I'll tell you what. Pretty calming. Let me know down in the comments what you learned from this video. I'm curious to know what you learned, if anything. I hope you did. I definitely learned something. And also let me know if you have any questions. Down in the comments, let me know if you have questions and let me know what you learned. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you have an awesome weekend. And remember, learn something every day.